Next up, at UFC 311, we have one of the more interesting fights on this card. This entire main card is absolutely spectacular. All 5 of these fights are interesting fights. And this is one of the more interesting ones that has also had some back and forth line movement. We have Jiri Prochazka taking on Jamahal Hill. Jiri Prochazka 30-5 in his career, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that second loss to Alex Pereira, taking on Jamahal Hill. 12-2 in his career, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that KO loss at UFC 300, also to Alex Pereira. Both of these gentlemen are former world champions who did not lose their belt in battle. They both got injuries, lost their belts that way, and then when they came back to fight for the belt, to get it back, it just did not go well for them. This should be a really exciting fight with a couple of different plot lines. We have Jiri Prochazka, the former light heavyweight champion of the world, who is a legitimate crazy person. Incredibly fun to watch. He always brings the fight to people. He comes forward. He's not very technical, but he hits very hard. He is very dangerous. And if he's not fighting Alex Pereira, he's very durable. Alex seems to be the only person that can be absolutely getting him out of there. But we have seen more than one Jiri Prochazka fight where he's in trouble. He's wobbly. He's on ice skates. And then he comes back and gets it done. He's got plenty of cardio, plenty of power, landing 5 significant strikes per minute, insanely high number to get hit with. Jiri Prochazka is a dangerous, scary man who you just don't know what you're going to get when he steps in that octagon. He's taking on Jamahal Hill, also former light heavyweight champion of the world. He got rid of that belt when he blew out his Achilles playing basketball. It took him 8-9 months to come back, and when he came back, he had the controversial knockout with Alex Pereira. The problem with Jamahal Hill is we don't know how good he is or is not. Seemingly, he's fantastic. He beat Glover Teixeira in an incredible performance, 25 minutes of sheer domination. And because that fight was so dominant and so long, his stats are amazing. He has an incredible 7-3 striking differential, meaning he's landing at a very high volume and hit very infrequently. He is primarily a boxer, and his boxing seemingly is very accurate. It is clean. It is crisp. He has a 73% takedown defense, which he probably doesn't need in this fight. And as I mentioned, he's coming off that knockout loss to Alex Pereira. What makes breaking this down interesting is because Jamahal Hill has become one of the most unlikable people in this sport. And he did it organically. To his credit, he earned the dislike. He earned the hatred with just one cringy statement after another. He came into the fight with Alex Pereira promoting it, trying to cause problems and using the statue, and then he got knocked out in a meme fashion, which only hurt. But then instead of just moving on and being like, it happens to everybody, he doubled and tripled down on the fact, that was a bullshit knockout. I wasn't ready yet. You took advantage of me. I got caught off guard. Just absolute nonsense, chaos. Then he's in his BMW just filming stacks of cash like, hey, all you losers sending me memes, look, I'm rich, you're not. Then he has the incident with Alex Pereira in the UFC Apex gym where he's like in Alex's face talking shit. So Alex talks in boxing gloves and said, all right, let's go. And Jamahal just backs away. He's become a cringy dude. So you got to separate your thoughts on his persona, or it's not even a persona, it's just his actual personality. Separate your thoughts on his personality versus his fight skills. His fight skills are actually pretty good. He's a technical striker. Other than the flash knockout with Alex and the flash submission with Craig, he's looked pretty good. He hasn't really shown that power and that insane finishability in the UFC, and I don't necessarily think he's going to show it here. When I first broke this down during the 3-week break, I picked Jamahal Hill. Jamahal was an underdog at the time. Now the odds have flipped, and so am I. As we get closer and closer, as you rewatch fights, as Jacob pointed out before, I just keep going back to the Alexander Rakic fight. Alexander Rakic is very, very, very good, and he was piecing up Jiri, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter. So what's Jamahal Hill going to do that Rakic hasn't done, that Dominic Reyes didn't do, that all these people haven't done? So I'm actually going to go ahead and pick Jiri Prochazka here just by some freak Viking nonsense. My real concern, though, is did Alex Poetin actually destroy Jiri's chin? Like, is that chin just gone now? Alex destroyed it. Jiri will never be the same. Let's assume he is the same, and if so, I think he can beat Jamahal with just being durable and crazy. What do you think, Jakey boy? Long breakdown.
Yeah, this was a very simple one for me. I can't stand both these guys. I've said both these guys are extremely overrated. I think one of the most overrated things in the sport is Jamahal Hill's power. Now, can he knock out a guy like Yuri? I mean, we're going to find out, right? Because Yuri, he was sat down in that first round and then knocked out clean in the last round that he has fought. So even if you don't have, crazy power, which I don't think Jamahal has, if you do have timing and somebody has lost their chin, we'll see what happens there. But there's just way too many questions. Literally, you could name any outcome for this fight, any of them, and nothing would surprise me. Early knockout by somebody, early weird, they're wrestling for some reason. I actually think this is kind of just a flyer or whatever. I think Jamahal Hill comes in and wrestles a little bit, especially early. Kind of take the wind out of the sails. It seems like I've seen him work on the grappling, and that's obviously a shot in the dark. I don't know if he's even had a takedown attempt, but in the UFC, but. If there's a weird scramble, somebody gets submitted early, somebody gets finished late, that goes to a decision, nothing would surprise me. I don't like either one of these guys. I think they're both overrated. Yuri is the only one that's really proven me wrong in those predictions, right? Because I was all over Rocket, and early on, like Angelo said, I was like, oh, yeah, like this is going very well. And then everything just kind of turned in an instant. As long as Yuri has that durability, I think he wins this fight just based off of pressure. I just don't think Jamahal Hill is that good. But I don't think Yuri is that good either. I've said he's overrated as well. So this is a pick. I'm not betting either one of these guys. Any outcome wouldn't surprise me, but I'm going Yuri.
I have not bet either because it is crazy. It's a crazy fight. It's a great fight. This is why we love the sport. Fights like this where it's just so hard to know exactly what's going to happen. Fights like this are exactly why we love this sport. I have no doubt this is going to be a fun fight to watch. And a lot of people are going to hate the outcome, whatever it is. And I feel like, I could be wrong, I feel like most people would be rooting for Yuri, right? Or is Jamahal not as hated as Twitter will make you think he is? Is it really just Twitter that hates his guts, or is it like everybody?
I'm not sure, but I think he's starting to play that character now.
Yeah, he realized, okay, the Howard Stern effect.
He's like the triggered,
he's Kobe
or whatever.
He's Kobe without the political aspect. I
don't really pay attention to any of it, but it seems like from what I've seen, it's like, oh yeah, he understands what's going on now.
I honestly hope so. I genuinely hope so, because nothing worse than being cringy and not knowing it. So I hope it is an act. Triple C played a character, worked for him. Kobe played a character, worked for him. So I hope.
I don't think it's an act. I just think he's more aware of
knows
how
what he's
to play
doing.
Into it. Yeah.
Sure. Well, Jiri Prochazka, dangerous guy. If you think he gets the finish, throw him in your DraftKings fantasy lineup. Jamahal Hill, dangerous adjacent. If you think he gets the finish, throw him in your DraftKings lineup. I do not think this goes to a decision. We have a 1.5 round line. I do think the over on that 1.5 makes sense, though. You said there might be some grappling early just off a random flyer in your head. I think it could be a staring contest early. Both of these guys just getting knocked out could be afraid to commit, and they could just be a staring contest, walking around, looking at each other, trying to play that range game. Jamal's very long. The last thing I forgot to mention here, Jamahal Hill's bragging about being 250 pounds like a week ago. That's a problem, dude. That's a problem. He's like, I'm a big boy. So I don't know what that weight cut's going to look like. I don't know anything.
A few weeks ago.
So, let's take a look at the embeddeds when the UFC starts to drop those. See if he looks like he's struggling, if he's sucked out, if he looks any different than he normally does. That may be a factor here as well. If you do want to check out all the picks, the bets, the tools, and everything else that we offer, $10 a freaking month. Like I said, no tiers. It's not like $10 for the bets and another $10 for the fantasy. No, it's $10 for everything. We're the Costco model. Incredibly high-quality product at an insanely low price. We're never touching that price point. That's why we have 4,600 premium members. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top.